All right, so good morning again, everyone. It is the 22nd of April, Friday, last currency call for the week. With the Traders Club members, we had a very good session last night where we were looking at some H1 trades, and I'll do a quick review with that slightly later into this session. If you are watching us on YouTube, this is recorded live for Traders Club members. If you're not a club member already, make sure you join. Check out the links below and join so that you can join this call live. You can join the Tuesday and Thursday night calls. And also, we are firing out signals in our dedicated club platform. So, with that, let's get started. Today is Friday. So, with Fridays, what we look at is a quick review of what we talked about on Thursday. We do a dollar index analysis, a bit of a preview into next week onto what we can expect. Look at the dollar CAD and also some cryptocurrencies. So let's get straight into it. First of all, any information shared in this video is not intended to be a trade recommendation. It is solely the opinion and views of myself. So please remember to do your own analysis prior to entering any trades. With that said and done, now checking out the news, right? For today, Friday, we had a couple of central bankers. Hang on. We had a couple of central bankers speaking early this morning. Not a big deal, not a great deal that they had shared or that would have changed prices too much, but what we did see was a continuation of the trend that followed, right? So with the CAD in focus for tonight, CAD, we do have the retail sales number looking to go from a 3.2% to a minus 0.4%, and core retail sales looking to go from a 2.5 to a 0.4%. So probably weaker retail sales number for the Canadians. And if we do see a weaker retail sales number, that actually shows some level of consumer confidence dropping. And if consumer confidence does drop, then we're possibly going to see some weaker Canadian dollar at that point, right? So just a quick analysis there for the CAD. What else can we anticipate for the CAD looking into next week? Right, next week we do have on Monday bank holidays for Australia and New Zealand. We do have a Canadian governor, Bank of Canada governor speaking, testifying to the House of Commons. Might move markets a little bit, but I don't think it'd be a big price mover at that point. On Friday, on Wednesday, we do have the Aussie CPI numbers. So I'll tell you more about that on Monday morning with the Aussie dollar. Looking like we might see some move on the Aussie dollar. On Thursday morning, we do have the Bank of Japan. So that would nicely coincide with our Thursday analysis of the yen pairs. US GDP numbers to be released on Thursday evening. So quarter on quarter US GDP looking like it might continue to rise. So we will look into that. Further dollar strength might apply. And then into Friday, next week, we have CAD GDP month on month, not looking too great, still at that very low number month on month. Last month from a 0.1 to a 0.2, not expecting a big change here for the Canadian dollar. So with all that said, what can we anticipate? First off, oops, I've lost my dollar index. Okay, I'll do my analysis here first. We were looking at this on the Aussie dollar last night with our Traders Club members. We're looking at that point last night at 8 o'clock, looking for it to break below this 7400 level for that selling opportunity. There was a good trade there, 40 something pips towards the downside. Right now, Aussie dollar has continued lower already. So if you missed out on that trade for Traders Club members, I was just sharing with you guys that we had to see what happened at 7350. Now that it's broken this point, I can actually anticipate further downside for the Aussie dollar, possibly towards that 73 level and maybe even lower. So look for that on the Aussie dollar. Another trade that we were sharing last night with Traders Club members is for the pound dollar to move up, to test and reject. This was at 8 o'clock, to test and reject that 1.3059 level, looking for that selling opportunity. That first trade down 25 pips already happened. Now we're looking for it to move lower. Can it break that 1.3 level to move down towards the 1.2983 level? So if you missed that first trade, we're looking for that second trade to break below this point to move down towards the 1.2983 level. So a lot of good ideas shared during the Tuesday and Thursday night sessions. These are all the H1 kind of trades, the shorter term trades, something that you can get into quite quickly. So if you're not already jumping into those calls, make sure you get onto that. These are trades that we kind of want to see immediate, almost immediate take profits, triggers and take profits. So those were the trades that we spoke about last night. Let's look into what else can happen. Oh, this was actually one other trade that we spoke about last night. The US CAD on the H1 time frame, I was saying that at that point, I was looking for it to bounce up from this 1.25 level towards the 1.2571 level. That trade, both a safe trade, this was a little bit later into the entry, and an aggressive trade a bit early into the entry there. Both trades have hit take profit towards the upside, towards the 1.2570 level. So what to expect here for the US CAD on the H4 time frame? Right now, I'm anticipating the US CAD to push higher, right? Because we are seeing that dollar strength, and I'll actually show you dollar first. So we are anticipating the dollar strength. Yesterday, I was saying that dollar would push higher, but we actually saw that drop because of the euro strength that happened over a couple of hours, with anticipation that we're likely to see the rates increase earlier than expected for the euro dollar. So we actually saw euro dollar strengthen, but then very quickly the dollar strengthened back up again. Right now at that 100.55 level, I'm looking for dollar to push higher, possibly back up towards that 101 resistance level. So looking for this push higher, and if we do see the dollar strength continue upwards, then for the US CAD, I'm looking for this to push higher, for this to push towards the 1.2620 level. Right, so I'll zoom in a little bit here. 1.2622 level, looking for that to push. I wouldn't say look to trade at this point, but for tonight, if we do see the US CAD push higher, then what you could be looking for, remembering that we do have CAD news, CAD retail sales number looking like a weaker number. So weaker Canadian dollar, what you could be looking for is a push higher above 1.2630, above 1.2630. Look for buying opportunities, a 20 pip stop loss, and I wouldn't go all the way to 80 pips. I would say first level would be about 30 to 40 pips, but you could even have a 60 pip take profit level, a 1:3 risk reward ratio towards the upside for the US CAD. So just bearing in mind that if I did zoom out here, you can see the US CAD on the upward, now on the recent upward move. You can see that the most recent high point is 1.2664. So if we did up to that point, it's only a 33 pip move towards the upside. That's still a 1:1 risk reward ratio towards the upside, first level, or you could target that resistance level where we saw it move towards this point. So once it breaks up from this 1.2620, I'm anticipating a similar move towards the upside like that, towards that resistance level, like what happened in early March. So that push towards the upside. So you can be looking for the same thing here on the US CAD on the H4 time frame. I would say this will be dependent on the dollar moving higher and also the news coming from the Canadians with the retail sales number, anticipation for weaker retail sales number. So that's it, quite easy for the US CAD. What else are we looking at? The cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, I was just sharing yesterday on my TradingView write-ups there. And I'll show you actually. Hang on, let me just show you TradingView. So just yesterday, I was talking about Bitcoin, saying that seems to have found support at 41,000, likely to bounce towards 43,000. But because we had that descending trend line, maybe resisted at 43 with further downside. All right. And then with that further downside, if it goes below that 41,000, we could see 37,555. So what happened was that it actually did that. It actually went straight up towards that 43,000, hit that descending trend line, and came all the way back down again. So right now, given that Bitcoin is below 41,000 and is broken quite strongly, I'm looking at a small bounce to test that 41,000 again, but we're looking at further downside or potentially further downside for Bitcoin. I would like to see it test that 41,000 again and reject towards that 38,924 and possibly down towards that 37,555 that I was doing with my analysis yesterday. So doesn't look too flash for Bitcoin at this point, looking like further downside. You can see that why I'm expecting it to come down towards this point is because whenever it breaks this 41,000 level, we see it drop quite strongly down towards 37,555, right? So we've seen that happen several times already. Feb, March, mid-March, and then once it fails to break, it bounces back up. But when it breaks past this point, we see quite significant downside on the Bitcoin against the US dollar. So look out for that. If you are trading that, I would say, look to sell it down. If you are looking at accumulation, then hold off, wait for that further downside, and possibly buy into value at 37,555 or even start accumulating at about 38,800 thereabouts, right? So with that on Bitcoin, then looking at Ethereum, that downside, that rejection of 3,192, 3,192 rejection has brought it down. At this point now at 3,000, looking like it might bounce back up. I think Ethereum is going to sit in this range between 3,000 and 3,200, sit in this range with all the news and the rumors about the merge, but with no definite timeline. So again, my analysis last on Tuesday, if I'm not wrong, let me see. Yep, there you go. On the 19th, on Tuesday, we were looking at it sitting above 3,000, looking at accumulation. No set date for the merge, so any accumulation would take a longer term with good volatility there. So bear in mind, watch out for that. Sitting at 3,000 now, I think we might see, I'll show you this on H4, might be a bit clearer there. We might see it bounce back up and test that range, right? So not a lot of exciting news on Ethereum at this point. I think more exciting on Bitcoin to see possibly further downside. CAD, we're looking for bounce. But bear in mind, as we are heading, today being Friday, we are heading into the weekend. Keep your trades short term. Quite a bit of news happening into next week. We are still looking at some uncertainty on the Russia-Ukraine front. So a lot of news happens over the weekend. Try to close out your trades by the close of the session today, and then refresh for a trade into next week. Next week is the end of the month. We're trading to the end of the month. So we might see a bit more volatility into the next week's sessions as well. With that, trade safe, trade well, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye now.